If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with another album review for you guys, and today I'm going to be talking about the latest studio offering from death metalers Ribspreader with Reap Humanity. This also came out on January 19th on Extreme Music, and well, this band Ribspreader is the brainchild of one Raga Johansson, who is mostly famous for his stuff with Edge of Sanity on the album Crimson 2, doing the vocals on that, and now currently in Massacre, and also had a project called Johansson and Speckman with one Paul Speckman of Masker. So this is a Swedish death metal band, however now I think it's safe to say it's a Swedish and American death metal band, because the other two members you have in this album are Jeremy and Taylor, both from Gorgong and Inhuman Condition, and both formerly of Massacre, and Taylor currently in Deicide, so many bands kind of commingle within Ribspreader now with the members that we've got. So, without further ado, let's talk about Reap Humanity. So, actually, well, as far as how I first heard of Ribspreader, it was courtesy of their debut album, Bolted to the Cross, because Dan Swano was the drummer on that album, and, well, Ribspreader are kind of in that same boat as Bloodbath in terms of kind of helping to revitalize Swedish death metal to some degree. Of course, Bloodbath took off way bigger than Ribspreader ever did, but Ribspreader is a respected band as well. But with this album, kicking things off with The Skeletal Towers, start off with a more kind of a doomy beginning, but with a sinister melody on top, and then into, like, a tone that it's not quite all the way HM2. It almost feels like HM2 and the Metal Zone together, almost like that Slaughter of the Soul kind of guitar tone, where it's that hybrid of the HM2 and the Metal Zone pedals together. Maybe something else to kind of give this album its own tone. But you get, like, typical Swedish death metalness with, like, the punkiness. It's quite furious. But I gotta say, Raga's vocals, super guttural. Like, I remember his vocals on Crimson 2 not being quite this disgusting. It almost seems like the older he's gotten, the more gross his vocal cords have gotten when it comes to these death growls. But with Skeletal Towers, yeah, you get some occasional double time stomps, maybe even some dissonant riffs. But definitely the main things that you're going to get on this album are incantation-inspired apocalyptic tremolo riffs, good breakdowns, solid grooves, and occasional dissonance, but also some occasional melody kind of can pop up here and there on certain tracks. Like, I would say A Fleshless Gathering, the second track, starts off with harmonized melodies that just sound flat out evil, which is really, really cool. But then you get these, like, twisted tremolo riffs. Like, you get, like, twisted tremolo riffs and apocalyptic tremolo riffs to kind of, like I said, give off a little bit of that, like, incantation vibe. Even though this is not quite incantation, this is Ribspreader. But, yeah, and then even in the breakdown on A Fleshless Gathering, you even get some of those harmonies kind of pop up here and there. And then the first iteration of blast beats all throughout. And then the title track, kind of a strange one. Like, you get this, like, strange, odd time, almost triplet chug, but then you get, like, tremolos and grooves working together. And you even get, like, a little riff that kind of made me think of Demolich to some extent before it gets into this big Swedish death metal D-beat stomp. Count Damnation. I love how you get these, like, really cool bends on the guitars along with the chugs, but a doomy groove. Then you even actually get a proper triplet chug. And then we suddenly take a left turn into black metal. Like, you get these, like, more blackened tremolos and blasts, like that hypnotic blast beat, as opposed to like the all-out aggressive blast beat that you get pretty much throughout most of this album. But it was really cool to hear something a little bit different, like a little more hints of black metal kind of pop up here and there on this track. As the ghouls are summoned, right away you get those incantation, apocalyptic riffing styles and blast beats, but it gets really thrashy. Like, little bits here and there, it gets quite thrashy and not as punky like you would hear in most Swedish death metal. But you also get some like really cool dive bombs to just add to the chaos. Like Breeding Vermin starts off doomy, but there's tremolos on top. It gets dissonant, it gets punky again. You get a catchy riff on top of the breakdown, which was really cool. And then a tremolo melody pops up as well. Further into Decay, mostly it's a thrashy track, but you do get some more of those twisted tremolos, blasts, and grooves. Human Fodder starts off with a clean intro, which was kind of strange compared to like how just brutal and chaotic this album is, that we get a clean break to start off with before you get back into the tremolos and blasts, and it gets thrashy, but with a dissonant breakdown. And then the final track, which was the shortest track of the album, Shrouded in Despair, this was pretty much a Death Doom instrumental to close the album out, which was pretty cool to hear. So yeah, kind of one big complaint I will have about this album is that a lot of these songs kind of follow the same mold. It's almost like this album has like one or two gears, but they do play those gears exceptionally well. Like, it's brutal, it's apocalyptic, it's nasty sounding, with hints of melody and dissonance that kind of pop up here and there and every which way but loose. So, yeah, that is kind of an issue on this album, is that there are some songs where some of the riffs just kind of run into each other and not that distinct. And the production, at times, especially in the final track, where you get this like sudden, like, it gets really, really bassy, and it kind of was a bit jarring for me. But aside from those complaints, I thought this was a pretty solid album. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 3 out of 5. I think this is a good album. I actually do think that Ribspreader with this lineup has potential to go places. I just want to hear what they might do on the next album if this lineup of Raga, Taylor, and Jeremy stay together. But for now, we got a 3 out of 5. It's a pretty good album. Definitely check it out. If you are a fan of Bloodbath, I would say Incantation, Dismember, and maybe even a little bit of, say, Disma, definitely check this out. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think of Reap Humanity by Ribspreader? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.